Hey, it's the Ray Weekend, and today I'm going to talk about a new thing, a fight for 26. What do you think I'm talking about? Well, remember this whole thing about fight for 15? Well, here goes the new one. Top progressives say $15 minimum wage is too low. Call for $26 minimum wage instead. Oh boy. It's like really um look, I'm gonna go through some of this stuff. We're gonna read some of the stuff what this guy said. It goes here. This guy, he's Progressive Center for Economic and Policy Research. Economist Dean Baker argued in a piece that the minimum wage ought to keep pace with overall economic productivity. Having the minimum wage productivity growth is not a crazy idea. The national minimum wage did in fact keep pace with the productivity growth for the first 30 years after national minimum wage first came into existence. Many of the country would look like, think of what the country would look like if the lowest paying jobs, think of dishwashers or custodians, paid $26 an hour. If Yeah, I could think about that. Think about going to your favorite restaurant and going there and go, oh, okay. What I normally paid, say $10. Let's say I like to go to a diner. I get their breakfast special. It's $9.99. Guess what? If they're paying everybody $26 an hour, ain't gonna be $9.99 anymore. It's gonna be like what, 19.99, 25, 24.99, because you know that's what these progressives don't get. It's not the majority of the workforce doesn't work for these big companies, these big corporations. They work in these small businesses. Small businesses, they for the most part, they get by. They just get by. They don't, you're not talking about people who, let's say, you own a restaurant and you make enough money to live. Maybe, let's say maybe they have a nice house, they have a nice car. Not all of them, but that's about it. They can't even take a vacation. A lot of these small businesses. So, but sometimes it's just a labor of love, and they need people to help them out. But what you know, I mean, I'm just gonna read on. Hold on. And this is just for starting wages. Presumably, workers would see their pace increase above the minimum as they stayed at their job for a number of years, ideally were promoted to better paying positions. If we assume that after 10 to 15 years, their pay had risen by 20%, then these workers at the bottom of the pay ladder would be getting more than $60,000 a year. Baker acknowledges that the policy would cause mass unemployment if implemented in the present economic order. However, he recommended fundamentally restructuring the economy such that wealthy Americans earn less income. We can start with my favorite government granted patent and copyright monopolies, items like drugs, medical equipment, and computer software, which would be relatively cheap in the free market, instead costs us huge amounts of money because of these monopolies. Look, even me, that's a regular Joe, I understand. You patent a product, you put work into that product. Now you patent it, and it's okay to for somebody else to make it. Like, that's what goes on with China. That's what we complain about with China, that they steal our intellectual properties. That you make a product, you want to sell it in China, you patent it over there, and then they steal the patent basically. because they'll have one of their companies make it. Same thing with these drugs. It's like, I totally understand them having, let's say, a small, a window where they could basically make the money back that they spent on, research and development, clinical trials. All that stuff costs money. It's not free. So to say that they shouldn't have a right now, I'm not saying with all these medications, like the person who bought like the insulin patent and then reissued it and jacked up the price. Like, no, that's not cool. That's, but talking about this stuff, let's say, for example, I have a special needs son. What if I develop a product that I go, I've been working on this with my son. Maybe, I could try to sell it to other special needs parents and stuff like that. May not be trying to make a ton of money off of it, but should somebody else be able to come and undercut me? Let's say because they have, a production facility that they could, lower the price on it. And I busted my butt making it for people to use, and then some other company is going to come and undercut me. That's not right either. I'm not saying that, these people should make ridiculous amount of money forever, but I think it's like, I forget, I could look it up, but I think it's like 20 years or something like that. A patents usually go for. But anyway, I mean, they're just, him saying that just goes to show you. It goes here. He shows Bill Gates probably still be working for a living if the government was not prepared to arrest anyone who made copies of Microsoft software without his permission. But we have open source software that you don't need Microsoft. You have Linux that you could use. There's plenty of open sources that people could use. Anyways, let's see. So left-leaning pundits and media outlets agreed with the argument. So, like I said, my point with this was just going to be, when it comes to the left, there's never enough. And like I was saying earlier, this, and it said it here, it admitted here that it would cause, Baker acknowledges that the policy would cause mass unemployment if implemented in the present economic order. Oh, forget about this stuff. Baker acknowledges that the policy would cause mass unemployment because people aren't going to, you can't afford, some businesses, well, not some, a lot of businesses won't be able to afford that, and they'll have to go out of business, which would mean that those people who are losing their jobs, you know what their minimum wage is? Zero. Nada. Zilch. That's their minimum wage. Yeah, they'll be able to collect unemployment for a time, but you can't collect it forever. So, I mean, you see this, I mean, the fact that they're portraying this and putting it out there like, oh, this is a good thing, 26. No, it's not. You already see it now. Look at companies. Now, I understand wanting to push this. I think they talk about there in the article for companies that, like, let's say a company that their profits run in the billions. Then that's a different story. Like, you got companies like Walmart, for example, McDonald's, all these more, let's say maybe more Walmart, because even McDonald's, you have regional chains that run these, that own these companies, and you have you have maybe like a small business entrepreneur that owns maybe like 2 or 3 franchises, and they just have to pay the franchise fee and the supplies from McDonald's or like Burger King or something like that. But you have a company like Walmart, like Amazon, all these companies, they should be paying people higher wages. But like I said, you see a company like McDonald's that's putting kiosk in, having minimal staff because they don't need as many people to staff. If you're going to make them pay, $15 an hour, guess what? They're going to pay those employees more money, but they're going to employ less people because they're going to want to make their money. Same thing, like, well, in Walmart, it's bullshit in Walmart because Walmart makes tons of money. They have tons of employees, and they have kiosk. You have the self checkout. Now, granted, I'm guilty of it. Like if I'm in a rush, those lines usually go faster than the regular lines. So I'm guilty of that too, of wanting to do it for convenience. But that's that's the ridiculousness. Once you give in with some of these crazy progressive leftists, whatever you want to call them, policies, that's what goes on. You give them an inch, they take a mile, and they wonder why. Oh well, why can't we compromise on this stuff? Because this is what you guys are pushing. There's no compromise on that. It's like if we tell you, okay, minimum wage is federal minimum wage, I think is 7.25, 7.85. We go, all right, we'll push it to $10. No, we want 15. We went from 15 to 26. So maybe it's like what they talk about, like what Trump used to do, the big ask, which is, you ask, I'm selling this, and I go, hey, I'll sell it to you for $20. $20? I'm not paying $20 for that. Take 5. Well, that's more reasonable. Okay, but you're still charging me $5 for this. But that's that's what I think what they're trying to push with this is, like, if they keep going ridiculously high, then they're gonna go, okay, well, maybe we'll just, now we'll go to 15. But that's what you're gonna see. If you push it too high, these companies that could afford it, they're gonna afford it, obviously. But the companies that could afford to put these kiosks in, they're gonna put them in. But a small diner, your small local diner, they're not gonna be able to afford to pay everybody that. Especially, they don't want to jack up the prices because they know if you charge if they charge what they would really need to charge, you're not going there. You're not gonna pay, $30 for a Western omelet with home fries and toast. Oh, that sounds good. I started dieting today, so uh trying to lose some weight. Hopefully, I'm usually good at it. I just got to be disciplined. So anyways, I'm gonna leave this video here. Tell me what you think in the comments, or comment on when I post them on social media. Let me know. I'm the Rican. You can follow me on YouTube and Rumble. You can interact with me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, all of them. All right. That being said, have a good one, everyone.